Thank you all for coming today. I was going to say, we're finally getting everybody to fill in here, but it's like school again. Nobody wants to sit up front, you know, and everybody wants to sit in the back and hide. But the reason why you shouldn't hide is first off, you came, so you made the first big step, which is to come participate. This really is a community event, and one of the first of many that we hopefully will do, because it's all about interacting amongst yourselves with those around you. There's a great representation of folks that you're gonna meet throughout the afternoon. It's both prospects, folks that are going through implementations now to the cloud, as well as existing customers who are achieving success. And even if they're not achieving all the success, they're here to find out ways that they can continue to improve that. So really want to make this an interactive type of process today. So you know, say hello to the person next to you, and hopefully you can each learn from each other. So I'm just going to do a quick couple of slides before I start the first panel. The first thing it starts with is it's all about the customers. That really getting the community to get larger and larger actually helps each of us be successful. Oracle ourselves, and there are many representatives from Oracle's back office here today that run our cloud ERP that are here to meet. They're here to learn from you, just like the other way around. But beyond ourselves, we've got over 5,000 customers here. Obviously, we're not all here today, but I think the great thing about it is building a large ecosystem by which we can help exchange best practices as you go through the implementation, as well as you go through the usage on an annual basis. The reality is, why we're doing this is really gets back to how do we help you succeed. There's great examples here that we've pointed out with Carbon, Stitch Fix, Bloom Energy, and Aventus Health, that you can start to see some of the unique value that gets generated as a result of moving to the cloud. And I think we're going to try and highlight more about this today, as well as find, again, ways to further maximize it within the finance function. Now, inside ERP, you'll see that we're spending a lot of money. So Oracle itself has got a $6 billion R&D investment. You know, Cloud ERP is our premier application that within our application suite. We've got, we said, the 5,000 customers across our applications. We've got a lot of partners. We've got a lot of patents. We've got a lot of folks that are here to make you successful. But most importantly, as you interact with folks here, I really want to push everyone to ask of your Oracle folks, how can we help? In fact, one of the things you'll see from every Oracle person that's here is as part of their name tag, the question, how can we help? Please ask us, whether it's, hey, how do I find out information about this? Or, hey, how can you help me solve this issue? I think this is part of the fundamental change and transformation that Oracle itself has been going through as we move from being an on-premise vendor to a service provider, that this is important to us, that each of us here at Oracle want to find ways to make you successful as a customer, so that hopefully then we get you and your statements up here to help illustrate how you're taking advantage of the cloud. So this I'm not going to go through a bunch of these ERP slides because I do want to get the panel up here. Hopefully you're aware of so far how broad our ERP cloud is. We're going to have discussions about the details that go behind each of these type of modules and what's going on with our portfolio. But getting back to it being customer driven, this is the unique opportunity that you get to participate in the roadmap, right? Over 800 of our features are really coming out of the customer-driven discussions, where 50% of those came directly from folks like you. So I think what you'll see and hear from the panelists, as well as when you interact with the R&D organization here at Oracle, is that they're looking to get that insight. That's what's helping drive the roadmap. That's what will help make you successful when you get up here. And as a result, we hopefully across the world get to the point where each of you has a go-live celebration that we show up here, and we'd, again, love to keep adding more and more of those banners as we go forward. So without further ado, I'm going to call up our panelists for our first discussion. So Colleen, if you'll come up from Oracle, as well as Mark Denon, CFO from Solairus Aviation. Richard and Scheitler from the wonderful company, and then John Chorley, who runs the supply chain product strategy for Oracle. If you could welcome them, that'd be great. Thank you for coming. Okay, look at this. But it's like one big happy family here, so we're all family. Why don't we start with the question? Maybe we'll just go down the line and have each of you introduce yourselves and say a little bit about what your company and what you do.
Great. I'm Colleen Bombach. I'm part of the product development organization. We're focused on product management and product strategy for our ERP cloud applications. I've been at Oracle 18 years.
Yeah, my name is Mark Denon, and I'm the CFO for Solairus Aviation. And we are a full-service aircraft management and charter company. Our company manages a fleet of about 140 aircraft for about 100 customers all over the country, and we are more of a service-based business. We're not an asset-based business. We don't own any of the airplanes. We just provide services for these clients, everything from hiring the pilots to paying the bills. And we've been an ERP cloud customer now for over 3 years.
Okay, Richard.
Richard Scheitler, I'm the CIO for the wonderful company, which many of you may not recognize the company name, but if you're familiar with Fiji Water, Wonderful Halos, Wonderful Pistachios and Almonds, Justin Wine for the wine fans in the group, or Teleflora are some of the major brands that are part of our portfolio.
Hi, I'm John Chorley. I run our supply chain product strategy group at Oracle, and been with Oracle now for over 20 years.
Well, my family can't live without the little oranges, so I thank you for bringing those to me. I see the big supply chain and all those oranges coming down the line, and that would go a long way in my family. But let's maybe, Colleen, we'll start with you, and you give us a little bit more background on how customers really get involved in shaping our product roadmaps, and give folks a little bit more color there.
So there are multiple ways for customers to engage with development around the product roadmap, if you will. Everything from specific product needs, and that's usually where we start. But what we end up is an understanding of what the customer is trying to achieve from a business process, or where you're trying to transform to. So there are multiple ways to have input to it. Customer advisory boards, idea labs where you can vote on enhancements and give us ideas for product, working with us directly, attending our events, Open World, MFE, all offer opportunities to work directly with the development team. But I think the most important thing is it's an opportunity to partner with Oracle as part of the transformation. Yes, we build product, and yes, we're interested to understand what features you need, but what I think is different over the last 5 years is we're at the table to make you successful, to understand what your business needs today, tomorrow, and after that. And the software and services and technologies that need to support that, not drive it.
Well, let's test that theory here. So maybe, Mark, if we start with you.
We should have talked before this.
Solairus was very early ERP customer, dating back to 2014. Maybe you just go back to that time frame. As we had met before, we talked about doing a Shark Tank thing where you show the video of them in Shark Tank, and then show Mark later on and how successful it's been. But bring us back to the original Shark Tank moment, and talk about what you were going through when you thought about moving to the cloud.
Sure. Solairus Aviation was kind of it was a startup business after a private equity roll-up went bust. And so in 2009, it started all over again, and it started with QuickBooks Enterprise version. I showed up 2.5 years later to be the CFO for the company. And for a company that's growing, that's not the platform you want to be on. And we had a very limited IT staff, and so I looked like a visionary for going to the cloud, but it was we could have hired a lot more people and bought more software. And had an inferior product. And when we started looking around at some of the different alternatives, we needed to have a project-based system. And when I realized that Oracle had a project-based system that was fully integrated into the ERP system, and then from a price point, we're paying by the seat. And so our company's not that large, and we're paying for 20 seat licenses, and we get the full capability of what the product has to offer. So it made it a very easy choice when I saw what it was going to cost us and what we were going to get.
Okay, and so you've got quite a few modules that you've now got implemented.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of did a big bang approach. We did projects and financials, and we ended up doing HCM too because of the tie into the project module. And so we went live in in January of 2015. And so we finished, 3 full years kind of in the system right now. And I'll admit the first year was a little bit of a struggle, I think, with anyone that's going through an integration or anyone that's gone through an integration realizes. But when I look back now as to where we are, I mean, our business has more than doubled our fleet under management, and our revenues and our gross profit have been, multiples of 10 times what we were. And we couldn't be running our business now had we not made the decision 3.5 years ago to put forward and put our product into the cloud and to be able to give us the scalability that we have right now.
So let's tie back to the interactions then with Colleen and the development folks. So obviously, you were early participant in helping us define some of that functionality. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how that interaction worked, what was successful, and how did you learn to improve that?
Yeah, sure. The thing that was a little bit of a challenge for us is, this software wasn't designed for an aircraft management company. So we kind of had to take the project module and figure out how are we going to do that. The first step was kind of easy, which is saying, okay, we're just going to treat every aircraft as a project. And then from a task level, we said we're going to treat every trip as a task. And then we use some of the defined flex fields that are built into the system that you can kind of activate, so we could kind of get it down to the granular level of, the ICAO location, which is basically the letters of the airport. So, SFO, everyone knows that one, but, in the aviation term, all of the U.S. airports have a K in front of it. So we have a 4-digit identifier, and so we built that into the system that was that we could configure. I mean, it was there to be used if you want to use flex fields, and we did some of that. But we got into situations where it wasn't intended. Normally, when you bill on a project basis, you kind of bill sequentially. But if we're flying charter trips on certain airplanes and they're in a certain order, we didn't have the ability to bill the trip that flew second ahead of the trip that billed first, because the intuitiveness of how they built the software wasn't designed that way. And we went back to Colleen and the folks at Oracle. We're like, you guys have to give us the ability to bill trips or tasks whenever we want to, not in sequence. Because if you're waiting for expenses to come in on a large international trip and you got a 1-day trip that's going on, you want to be able to bill that the next day. And so those were some of the things that we worked with you guys on to try to give us the ability to do that.
And Colleen, was the interaction positive on that front? We were able to help each other?
Absolutely. It's been a journey of 4 years. Solairus was a release 8 early adopter and now has been through 4 upgrades. So it's the journey over 4 years. This was just one example. I think there's a level of trust with us that we're going to understand the business need. We're going to respond in a timely fashion. But really, in this particular example, it was understanding the billing for the customer, the impact to the bottom line to Solairus, and the software change was easy, but really trying to understand how we're going to help facilitate that. And the team was great and very open. I think one of the best things that we saw in our collaboration was the ability to think out of the box.
Yeah.
Maybe not the way we've always done it, maybe not the way the software is meant to do it, but what are we trying to achieve and what's the most optimal way to solve the problem for the customer? So
yeah, obviously with the cloud now, we're much more tightly integrated from a strategic partnership with each customer. So Richard, maybe we'll move over to you where you've got one of the largest implementations of Oracle SCM Cloud and ERP Cloud. You want to tell us a little bit about how you've gone through the process of getting to moving all this into the cloud?
Yeah, so we're in the process of implementing. We're live with some pieces, and we're finalizing, getting ready to go live with full financials, full supply chain, order management, manufacturing, inventory, maintenance, quality, WMS, OTM, Oracle Analytics Cloud, and ICS for integration. So while I talk about it, and we're not technically the largest, I know there's a lot more users, but in terms of breadth of cloud functionality, I think we're one of, if not the largest out there. And it's a pretty exciting transition for us, not only to move to the cloud applications, but we're also leveraging it as an opportunity to move what was historically 7 legacy ERP systems into one single global instance for our business.
So on the counter of Colleen, we've got John here on the supply chain development side, who obviously is working very closely with you, Richard, on feature functionality here. So John, maybe talk a little bit about the relationship that you're having with Wonderful in helping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind.
Likewise, Richard. we're
all in the family, remember?
in comparison with some of the other modules, some of the supply chain solutions are the newer kids on the block. So obviously for us, working with a committed partner like Richard and the wonderful company is absolutely key. It really helps us validate, what we decided to build, help us refine that, helps us improve that, helps us define a go-forward roadmap. And I think that interaction with him has been really strong, particularly considering the breadth and integrated nature of the solution that they're deploying. So it's always a give and take, and we work very closely together between our teams and your implementation partner, and it's been a very positive experience.
Well, let's see if Richard concurs.
No, listen, it has, and it has been a journey for sure. And I think some of our earlier conversations, and when John and I were talking about this journey, we had originally looked at some of the re-implementing some of the on-premise functionality, but it's that close relationship between my team and the development team that got us through our individual requirements, that got us to a point of belief that it really was the right time for us to transition to the cloud. And then that relationship has continued to evolve as we've brought in and looking at bringing in each additional company. And I think John had a team down at one of our plants literally yesterday, looking at some of the functionality for our next rollout. I think they were there about a month ago as we were looking at some of the more in-depth functionality around maintenance, for fleet maintenance going forward as well. So it's been great.
Now, getting back to Solairus, I think one of the other things is beyond just basic, or not basic, but I see core applications. I think Colleen, you've been working with them around this financial accounting portal. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about what that is, how that came to be, and what's unique about it.
I'd love to tell this story. So
yeah, please.
And then I'm going to hand over to you. So 4 years ago in March was the first email I got with the subject of Solairus, and I said, ooh, private jet aircraft charter, I want to be a customer someday, so I'm going to sponsor that account, right? Hadn't met Mark, didn't meet him till Open World that year, and started down the project. But I'm going to say maybe a year into it, when you were moving from finance to the HCM implementation, he said to me, Colleen, I have a vision. And I'm like, okay, what's the vision? And he's telling me about, I want to get to a point where we have a self-service portal for our customers where they can review their invoices. And I'm sort of looking at him going, we got to get financials live. We got to get HCM live. But he never let go of the vision. He continued to raise it. We continued to engage with our ERP development team across the board on how to use not only the product, but some of the newer technologies that weren't even available for you 4 years ago in the middleware platform. To do that, and it's done, and it's getting ready to be rolled out to customers, and it's really slick. So I think listening and talking with Mark over the years about his vision, and then making that vision a reality, and the collaboration, because some of it was new, right? You're using some fairly new components, and trying to represent to his customers his vision, and now it's ready to be rolled out. And quite frankly, a year and a half from real in earnest start to finish.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk some more about it.
Yeah, for the folks that were here on time, they started rolling the video up there, and that was me from 3.5 years ago when we were still in the design implementation. We hadn't even gone live yet. That was Open World 2014. We went live in January of 2015. But even back then, as we looked at it, our business model, it's a complete transparent model. We're the flight department for these corporations and super wealthy individuals that own corporate jets. And our business model is we charge a fee for our service on a monthly basis, and everything else gets passed along to them at cost. And the larger we get, the bigger discounts that we get, and we pass those bigger discounts along to our customers. All of our competitors don't do that. And so one of the things that we wanted to have the ability to do was we give our clients a very detailed monthly statement, which we came out of the system, and that was really the primary reason, is to get these very detailed statements to our clients about what it costs to operate their aircraft on a given month so that they can replenish their bank account so we can kind of start that process all over again. But the vision was every one of those transactions we received an invoice for. And so my vision back then was, when I log into my bank account and I forgot what check I wrote, I can click on the little check number and boom, up pops the check and who cashed it. And so I said, I want to have the ability to do that for my clients, that when they get their statement, I want them to see their statement online and that they can go to the transaction level and click on the little paper clip and bang, up pops the invoice that we paid on their behalf that normally was approved by someone. So you're seeing someone's signature on this document. And so that was the vision almost 4 years ago. And I knew that when we went this route, that if we were going to be able to do that vision, that Oracle was the company that was going to do that for us. I mean, even back then, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew that if the banks could do it, we could do it. So we went down that path and talked to people here. We came back out for a visit to one of these CVC visits out here, and we brought some of our consultants and some other folks on our team. And we were going down the path of using this service-oriented architecture, the SOA platform stuff. And we came down here for a meeting, and we kind of laid out our vision. And the folks on the Oracle team said, we think that something else is going to work better for you, right? And so we ended up doing the integration cloud, right, instead of the SOA cloud. And so we also have content and experience cloud. We got identity cloud, so that when clients log in to this portal, they're only seeing their aircraft. I mean, we want to make sure that we segregate all of these things from a confidentiality standpoint. And so we now have 4 middleware products that, I will say, from my perspective, magically work together to produce this client portal. And it's been well received from the people that have seen it, and we're going to roll it out shortly to some of our customers, and it's been a long time in the works, and we're happy to be rolling that out very soon.
Yeah, so obviously lots of flexibility relative to building the base SaaS applications, using the platform as a service to help extend it in unique and new ways to really drive your business. Maybe Richard would turn over on the wonderful side and see what are the things you're working on with development, or is it too hush-hush to talk about?
No, listen, I think we work with John's team and the rest of development in a lot of ways. I mean, frankly, we're pushing the envelope on the manufacturing side towards a lot more process manufacturing functionality, which is important for us down the road. We're pushing the envelope on some of the maintenance functionality towards fleet, which is important for us down the road. And frankly, I think all of what we're doing is laying the foundation for some arguably even more exciting things down the road as blockchain becomes a bigger and bigger technology for us to incorporate into our supply chain activities. But I believe the work that we're doing now is really foundational for us to get there going forward. And as long as John keeps taking my phone calls, we'll be happy to keep working with him to do it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everyone's getting a little bit of a taste of how this interaction can work as you think about helping us steer our roadmap. Maybe I'll turn it back to Colleen and then John to talk more specifically about ways that you'd encourage folks to work with your teams on this ideas.
Yeah, I would say take advantage of the many vehicles, and if you need to know what they are, the people with the "How can I help you" here today, ask us. Tell us what it is your challenge, the business challenge, what you're trying to achieve, and I think that's a good place to start for those in the room. Also, as I said earlier, our events, our idea labs, just bring it forward.
John?
Same thing. I would say we're really thirsty for knowledge and input that only can come from our customers. They're the ones with the real business problems that we want to solve. And really understanding the details of those and the different nuances in each particular implementation helps us build that into our product, make our product stronger. And that's obviously the journey that we're on with the wonderful company, and I invite any of you to join that journey too.
And maybe just before we wrap, maybe for both of you on the customer side, any words of wisdom or advice that you'd obviously give to your peers out there as they think about how to accomplish similar things you've done?
From my perspective is, have someone that you have a relationship with. In this case, it's Colleen, but I've met a lot of folks over the last 3.5 years at Oracle, and just feel free to ask them for their help, and share where you want to go with the product and what you want to do as with your business, and see what they can do to help. And it doesn't happen overnight, but look at this, we're in a marathon here, right? And so if it takes a year to get something that we really want because it's, it's slated for the next release, then, we're willing to wait for it. But we're not afraid to ask for things that we would like help with.
Yeah. Okay, Richard?
I think the thing that I would say, and I say this a lot, is my relationship with Oracle is just like any other true strategic relationship I have with a partner. You get out of it what you put into it. And we put a lot into it. And when you mentioned the customer advisory boards, I don't think there's one that I don't have a team member on as an example. But I do believe in that. You get out of it what you put into it. And we expect a lot. And because of that, we put in a lot.
Yeah, I think it's interesting is for me being involved in Oracle's transformation over the last few years from on-premise to cloud computing from a business standpoint, from a process standpoint. It's very interesting to when you really realize that ultimately in this new paradigm, the worst thing that Oracle can do is sell you a cloud service to which you're going to fail, i.e. you're not going to use it, you're not going to renew it. Because the economic model for us is built on, it's got to be a sustainable future. Like, we have to build the data centers, we have to populate them with hardware, we've got to put all the software, we do all of these things that you used to do as a customer, those are the costs that you used to be burdened with. We're now doing that, and obviously we charge a subscription fee. If we can't keep customers like yourselves and others for a long period of time, it actually, economically, for the finance people here, it made no sense to sign that contract in the first place. So I think the great thing about it is we're aligned both strategically and financially, which goes a long way. So thank you, panelists, for participating. Really appreciate it. If we can just give them a round of applause.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.